prepare to hear what you would say. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. May all cares and burdens be lifted from our hearts, and may our minds and our hearts be open and receptive to your words. These we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Good morning, brothers and sisters. The theme for this month is about sharing our gifts liberally. And for the next few moments, I just want to share on the topic of understanding your gift. Understanding your gift. The passage that was read from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, is rather interesting when you look at a few of the details which might escape us as we do a cursory glance reading. And here is the thing. Verse 1 tells us that Jeremiah was the son of a priest, Hilkiah. In fact, and Jeremiah got his vision, well, one of the visions, during the time when Josiah was a king. Now, Josiah ascended to the throne at age 8 years old. And Jeremiah got his vision in the 13th year of the reign of Josiah, who was the son of Ammon. But what is interesting, in the time of Josiah, there was also a high priest by the name of Hilkiah. So there seems to be some connection with Hilkiah in the time of Josiah and Jeremiah's father. So Jeremiah was from a priestly family. In other words, these were the Levites. These were the ones that were set apart, sanctified by God to minister in the tabernacle. Everybody all right so far? But listen to this now. Verse 4, then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Jeremiah speaking, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you and ordained you a prophet. Isn't that interesting? The guy is a priest. He's from a family of priests. But that wasn't his call. Hello? That wasn't his call. His father's a priest, his grandfather's a priest, his entire lineage, they're priests. But that wasn't his call. What could make God call a man to do something that he has no qualification for? Word speaking. He didn't come from the school of the prophets. His father, grandfather, his entire lineage, they're priests, and he gets a call to be a prophet. So just in case he might be wondering, this might not be the right call, God qualified it. God said, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Not just that. Before you were born, I sanctified you. And I ordained you a prophet to the nations. In other words, it's not a multiple choice question. It's a compulsory mission. Are you with me? Yes. So God is saying, I'm qualified to call you to what you think you're not qualified to do because I set it up from before you were born. I don't even think Jeremiah remembered before when he was born. Not just that, Jeremiah's parents, I don't think, could account for the time before he was born. We all meet our children after 9 months. They might kick and scream inside, but you don't get to meet them. That privilege is not yours. You don't get to meet them until after the birth process. Are you with me? But God is saying, before I placed you in the womb, I've already dealt with what needs to be done. In other words, you came here, Jeremiah, with something that not even you know what you have. Now that's very awesome. Can you imagine you're walking around with something inside of you that you came here with that not even you have any idea what that is? That's a mystery, isn't it? Psalm 100 reminds us that it is He that hath made us and not we ourselves. So let me ask you, the body that you have, whose body is it? Of course it's your body. But my question would be, where did you make it? Who has the copyright of ownership for it? Because intellectual property law says that the copyright remains with the creator of a thing. Hello? You only have the right of tenancy for a particular period of time. David lamented that that particular period of time was sometime 3 scores and 10. So we have a period of tenancy in a house that was lent to us. So when we behave as if it is ours to do what we like, then you're going to be some problem with the landlord. Are you with me? Your body is a gift. It's a gift. And it's a gift for which we're all held accountable for. Can you imagine? Think about it for a bit. If I'm suggesting that we're just landlords in our tents, sojourning from here to there as pilgrims, that's how Peter puts it. Peter said, I'm in a tent, I'm going to put up my tent shortly. And he encourages the people, be as sojourners and pilgrims. You know what pilgrims and sojourners are? They just set up tent and move on. We're not in the that's why if I'm bricks and brothers and sisters, we're supposed to move forward and up in the Lord. You with me? So, if you rent somewhere from someone, you're a tenant, and the water main breaks, who do you call? Of course, if the roof leaks, who do you call? Absolutely. So, if you have this body which doesn't belong to you, and you have some pain that you can't figure out where, who are you going to call? The doctor. Call the doctor, but call the real doctor first. Are you with me? Because he knows the knowledge to give the other doctors that are under his command. So if you know that the landlord is in charge, then you first call the landlord. I mean, look at it this way. When the roof is leaking, you call the landlord to say the roof is leaking, but at the same time, you call a carpenter that you know and say, hey, I have a roof, I need to come. Why? Because it's going to be the landlord's expense. Are you with me? Yes. So you notify the landlord and then call assistance. Are you with me? Yes. Can you imagine? I mean, a lot of us, can you imagine some house, in a house, and you fix the main, you fix the roof, you fix everything. After everything is yours, you know? So when you get notice, you start to think and imagine how unfair the landlord is. Well, we all are appointed to get a notice. It's appointed. Yeah. You're not going to be in that dwelling place or for eternity. Not this one. Are you with me? So our bodies are a gift. See, I'm trying to shift our understanding of gift, you know. Because we often think of gift as skills and things we can do, and that too. But I want to challenge us beyond just that. Your life, whose life is it? Well, if it's yours, when did you create it? And on what basis do you own it? And if you don't own it, on what basis are you able to do whatever you like with it? It's a gift. And gifts tend to predate us. Gifts tend to predate us. So you didn't get life after you were born. You had life from before you were born. Are you with me? So the scripture says in 1 Corinthians 2 verse 9, eye has not seen, nor has ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love him. Can you imagine? You're walking around with something inside of you that no eyes have seen, no ears have heard of, and no heart has conceived. So the only way that can be known is if it's revealed by the one who put it there. You begin to realize now that life without God is a big mystery. Big mystery, big question sign. Who am I, why am I here, and where am I going? Big mystery. Because God is the source of all life. So the point is, we came with something that predates us, and not just predates us, we came with something that is independent of our current state, status, or circumstance. Jeremiah was supposed to be a priest that had no bearing on what he was called to do. Are you with me? So your gift and your call is not dependent on the family stock that you're from, your educational background, where you were born, where you live, where you grew up, your education. It's not dependent on anything of that nature. So the first thing I want you to make note of is that your gift is independent of you. And that's very important to recognize, because oftentimes we tend to believe that our gifts must be related to something about me. It must be related to how I understand myself and my surroundings and how I understand life. No. Because you didn't get it when you come here, you got it before you came. So it was not dependent on anything that happened after birth. Paul explained this rather poetically in 1 Corinthians 1, from verse 26 to 29. And Paul mentioned that God has a particular way of choosing people that violates their understanding and other people's understanding of them. This is what it says in 1 Corinthians 1 verse 26. For you see our calling, brethren, that not many wise according to the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. But God has chosen the foolish things of the world to put to shame the wise. And God has chosen the weak things of the world to put to shame the things which are mighty, and the base things of the world, and the things which are despised. God has chosen, and the things which are not, to bring to naught the things which are. God specializes in impossible. You see, human beings, we specialize in possibilities. So whatever the mind can conceive, we can achieve. That's possibilities. What the mind can conceive? Well, we're saying that you can't achieve it. God goes beyond that. Whatever has not even entered into your heart or mind or your ears, God can bring to be. That is who you worship. Are you with me? God is not a God of possibilities. He's a God of impossibilities. So whenever you run up into your impossibility moments, that's when God needs to show up. But what do? We run away from the impossibilities. And we say, it's not possible. But that's the reason why God is God. Because a lot of things in your experience will not be possible. So He can take weak things and confound strong things. He can take base things and confound mighty things. That is the God that we serve. So the point I'm saying to you is this: be encouraged. It doesn't matter if you consider yourself weak, lowly, worthless, don't have any value. It doesn't matter what you think. What matters is what God thinks about you. And God has placed a treasure inside of you, and He has entrusted that treasure in an earthen vessel called a body. And we have to be accountable to God about how we use that treasure. So your gift is independent of you. Now, let me just take a minute to just qualify. I've been talking about gift. But what really is a gift? I've been alluding to it. I would suggest that a gift is capability that you came to earth with. And I'm using the word capability as a combination of the word capacity and ability. So it is capacity and ability you came to earth with. You got it before you were born. That's a gift. In other words, you didn't learn it, you didn't acquire it, you came with it. You open your mouth and you can sing. You take up an instrument and you play. These are some obvious examples. You didn't learn it anywhere. Let me give you an example. And gifts can run in families. So let me look at the family of Moses, for example. So Moses had a brother Aaron and a sister Miriam. Moses, God called Moses. Moses, come. I'm going to send you on a mission. Now this is something very important. Remember I said that gift is independent of you. Now this is Moses in the second chapter of his life, on post-retirement sheep herding. You can imagine. So Moses is 80 years old, and at that point God is just ready for him. So a word of silence for those who think that your purpose and your gifting diminishes with age. Not necessarily. So Jeremiah got his call before he was born. So before he was started, he got his call. Moses got his call when he thought he was finished. Hello. You can't try to figure out God. Don't use my life as the example of what you're called out to be. No. You can't use Jeremiah's. You can't use... God deals with us as individuals. And that's very, very important. Why do I say that? The psalmist says, be not as the horse or as the mule, which has no understanding, whose mouth has to be held at bitter bread. What's that? A horse is always impetuous, always want to go ahead. That has to be held back. The mule has a different problem. The mule is obstinate. When it's supposed to go ahead, it is staying back. So God knows, and I mean no disrespect to me, some of us are like horses. We're always forging ahead. And some of us are like mules. Obstinate. So the point is, God can't use a one-size-fits-all to deal with us because we're different in how we are and how He made us to be. Think about it for a minute. Of the billions of people on earth, can you imagine that there's no one else like you, even if you're a twin? No, that's awesome. That's awesome. It simply means that anything you do that you don't copy someone else, you're original. Can you imagine? Anything you do, you just talk and your voice is different from every other voice in the world. You walk and you walk different. So anything you do without reference to anybody is an original act. That's how God created you. The world, though, wants to make us homogeneous. Want to dress alike, talk alike, listen to the same music. Have you ever stopped to realize that everybody acknowledge the same hit song around the same time? Yeah, it's not a hit for me today, and then next week it's a hit for you. It's a hit song for everybody at the same time. So if slim fit jeans is the thing, everybody's in uniform. Are you with me? Yeah, and it's not temple, they go like priests. The point is, the world wants to make us homogeneous. God wants to make us distinct and unique. You don't have to be like anybody else. You have to be what God made you to be. Different, unique, and original. Now, Moses got his call when he thought he was finished. But here's the thing now, talk about gift. Moses knew that his brother was the eloquent one. Of course, he knew that. So when God says, Moses, come, I'm going to send the Pharaoh. Moses said, God, now please come. You know, or list, L-I-S-T. But in Jamaica we say, list. I cannot speak, but I'm not eloquent of speech. And God was putting up with Moses. But then Moses made one statement. And he said that the anger of God was aroused. You know what the statement was? Send somebody else. Oh, how could he? How could he say that to God? No, I mean, Moses was saying, then they're not going to believe me. That's all right. I am who that I am. Moses then, what if we go and then he said, okay, put your hand in the bosom, take it out, was white, leprous and snow. Put it back in, come back. Say, okay, this thing is so okay, Moses drop on the rod. Drop on the rod, it become a serpent, take it up back, became a rod again. God was willing to put up with everything. All the doubts and insecurities, but when he said, ask somebody else, he said the anger of God was aroused. Why? Why? Because there's nobody else to do what you came here to do. Are you with me? God didn't make you and a backup file in the body of somebody else. Are you with me? You have a unique contribution to make in the service of God. There's no backup of you. There's nobody who can fill in for you in your absence. When you're absent, the band goes on without you. Nobody can replace you, and that's the thing. When we say, ask somebody else, we're actually saying, God made me and a carbon copy. Nobody can replace you. And Moses done it. But here's the thing now. Moses understood that Aaron, his brother, was the charismatic one. God didn't care about that. God is not choosing you based on your charisma, based on your height, like Saul. He's choosing you based on what he has placed in you. So Moses said, but Aaron is the one who can speak. God says, I know he can speak. And I'm going to make him speak, but you are going to tell him what to speak. What's interesting about that, when you read through Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers and so on, you hardly hear Aaron speaking to the people. I mean, can you imagine? This Aaron, who Moses wanted to elevate above himself, was the Aaron who couldn't even restrain the people from worshiping an idol. So you see, God is interested in our heart, not in our skills and our charm and our ability to communicate. God is not interested in elocution. Are you with me? So, this Aaron was the orator. Miriam, by the way, was a singer. When they crossed the Red Sea, Moses wrote a song. But you don't know Moses was a writer. Moses was a writer. He wrote 5 books and some songs. He was gifted. Miriam was a singer. Aaron was a speaker. The gifts were in the family. But all those gifts were used in service to God. And that is the point of the gifts that we have. So a gift is independent of you. You came here with it. Let me give you an example. Or let me clarify. A gift is not the same thing as a skill. Alright? A skill is capability you acquire after you are born. So education can give you skill. Training can give you skill. Knowledge can equip you with skill. But a gift predates all of that. Are you with me? And this is the interesting thing. That God can give both gifts as well as skills. Just make a note of it, Daniel chapter 1, and you'll read that God gave Daniel and his friends gifts, gifts in knowledge and skill and in understanding. So for those who are students, God can give you the gift of knowledge. Yeah, just don't sacrifice your salvation for your education. Let me explain something to you. When you read scripture, you're studying at the root of knowledge. I've said it before. You're at the root of knowledge. And education offers branches of knowledge. So no matter how difficult you think your course is, it's one branch on the tree of knowledge. Scripture operates at the root of knowledge. And God can give you knowledge, but you still have to study it. He gives you knowledge, He gives you skill. So here is an example of how I can illustrate it. David was a shepherd boy, and he used to play his harp. And that skill remained with him. David also used to be a slinger. He could use a sling very well. And he used it on a couple occasions to save some lamb from the mouth of lions and bears. But what's interesting, when you read the life of David, after the fight with Goliath, there's hardly any mention of David using a sling again. But there's record of David using his harp even until his last days. In fact, David used to write songs and give the praise and worship team, the Levites, to sing in the temple. In fact, he left us a book of songs called the Psalms. Yeah, he was a singer-songwriter. But what was he singing and writing about? God. Brothers and sisters, the persons who write the songs that you are listening to, it has to come from a source. So that is not the song I have a problem with, it's the source of the song. Are you with me? So singers and songwriters are very influential. So David had the gift of music and that stayed with him. But the harp didn't. David didn't move on in his career to become a slinger in the 1st Battalion in the army. He didn't. There's hardly any mention of it. So here's the thing. David would play his harp even when he had no audience. What we know for sure is that he would have had a flock of sheep. He may or may not have any body. There might have been some passers-by, but that stayed with him. He had to learn how to defend his sheep from predators, from wild animals. So he had to learn the skill of using the sling. So here's the thing though. A skill is something that you learn in order to carry out a necessary function. It doesn't have to be something you like. Shout out to those who don't like their jobs. Are you with me? So you don't have to like and fall in love with your skill. Are you with me? From all indication, it doesn't seem that David was so passionate about being a slinger because he dropped that from his resume after Goliath today. Are you with me? He was busy about other things he was more passionate about, like leadership and influence and God. Are you with me? So we have to acquire skills because we have some necessary things that we have to do and accomplish in our lives, like protecting our sheep or our family or providing for our family. Are you with me? Yes. So stop believing about your life job. It's okay. You have the skill, go perform it. Fall in love though with the gift that God has given you. Stir up that gift and offer it in service to Him. That is your real full-time job. Skills, the part-time job. You do it when you have to. You do it in order to accomplish something else that is important and necessary for you. Are you with me? So, the gift will remain with you. The skill don't necessarily remain with you. And the proof of the cake is in the pudding. Some of us have acquired skills in education. And after a while, we have no interest in the area at all. Not at all. I mean, I studied banking in undergraduate. No interest in banking. That's a skill though. So if I'm pressed against the rock at a hard place, I have to work in a bank. But is that my passion? No. That passion lies elsewhere. But I did it for many years in order to do what was necessary to be done in order to carry on life. Are you with me? No. Here's the thing. It's an independent use. There's another point I want to make. We uncover our gifts by offering ourselves in service to others. That's how your gift is uncovered. You want somebody to be dumbfounded, ask them, what's your gift? Some persons know offhand, some persons have to think about it. But the challenge is that our gifts are not uncovered. Notice I didn't say discovered. I said uncovered, which means it's already there. So we uncover our gifts by offering ourselves in service to others. And here's the clincher. Whether we are acknowledged for it or not. That's the important thing. Now let me give you an example. Joseph was in prison with some other guys. And Joseph recognized that this guy they were looking down. The countenance changed. He said, hey, what's the problem? He said, boy, I had a dream last night and it's so disturbing. And Joseph said, tell me the dream. And when he told Joseph the dream, Joseph shared his gift with his fellow inmate. And Joseph said, one thing I want to ask though, just acknowledge me at the end of it. So Joseph interpreted the dream to his fellow inmate. And the interpretation was that he would be released from prison and he would be restored to his original position in the palace of Pharaoh. And Joseph said, only one thing I'm asking, just acknowledge me. And it says that the guy was released, was reestablished to his position, and he forgot Joseph. And let me tell you something. If you know what your gifting is or your area of passion, the way to hurt somebody is not to acknowledge it. A person who is gifted, not to acknowledge it, is the way to hurt, belittle, and to keep them down. That's the way to do it. Let me give you an example of who was a master at it. Saul. Saul was a master at it. David slew Goliath. This lad was a gifted soldier. What did Saul do? Just give him a position in the palace, keep him near him as an armor bearer, and that's it. If you want to advance under your care and leadership, acknowledge the gifts. Not just acknowledge it, but acknowledge it publicly. Are you with me? You know who does that very well? God. He said, Moses, appoint Joshua as a leader. And I want you to appoint him before all the people. And let all the people know that he is the one. Oh, by the way, that's the reason why when we have church leaders, we have a service where we acknowledge leaders before the congregation. Yeah. So that the persons can operate in a capacity without this spirit. Are you with me? Now, our gifts, so Joseph interpreted the dream, wasn't acknowledged, and that must have hurt. Not just that. David, as I mentioned earlier, he was playing his harp. People were just passing by. Nobody acknowledged him as if he was in a concert. But here is the clincher. Here is the clincher. When Pharaoh had a dream, somebody acknowledged Joseph. When Saul was going through his manic depression, bipolar disorder, the scriptures explain by saying the spirit of the Lord departed from him. If it were today's world, he might have employed a psychiatrist or a counselor. In those days, his courtesans asked him to employ a musician. And guess whose name showed? There's a boy, man. I hear him playing out in the wilderness, out in the pasture, and get him, man. We should use it. They didn't say they talked to him, they met him, he was at a concert, no. And that is the thing. That your gifts might not even be acknowledged in the way you expect or anticipate or for it anyway. That's how it's uncovered. And it doesn't matter. So it's not a numbers game. It is not a feedback. It's not like or follow or tweet or share. It doesn't matter. It's just offering to God in His service. Are you with me? So, our gifts then were never meant to serve ourselves. Think of a tree. Once a tree bears its fruit, it doesn't bear it for itself. The tree's fruit is for everybody else except the tree. Are you with me? And sometimes, oftentimes, your gift, when you're operating in it, is for the benefit of others. Isn't that interesting the way God made us? God designed us in such a way that you can benefit from your own gift. Can you imagine if I could benefit from my own gift and I'm a singer? I would just sing in my bathroom. I would be singing in the mirror. Yeah, but then that would be of no impact, no use. And here's the thing, why uncovering gifts, why offering a gift in service is important to uncover it. Because your gifts are like your two eyes. You can't see them unless they are reflective. So until someone say, hey, you have a good singing voice. Hey, I'd like to hear you pray. Hey, you're an encouraging person. You don't know what's inside of you unless it's reflected through somebody else. Are you with me? And that's the reason, that's the motivation you should have for offering yourself in service. Otherwise, your gift will remain hidden. So, the first thing that your gift is independent. Secondly, we uncover gifts by serving others. And the third thing I want to mention is that our gifts and our skills lead us to the place of purpose. That's the third point of it. And that's important. Our gifts and our skills lead us to the place of purpose. And let me use David to illustrate what I mean. David was playing the harp. That's a gift. Where did that lead him? He got a job as a palace musician to the king. So the harp led him into the palace. Are you with me? Okay. So he got a position in the king's palace. The sling, with the sling, led David, but it led him into a battle with Goliath. In other words, the sling led him into the army. Are you with me? So he had a position in the palace, and he had a position in the army. But position without purpose is pointless. Position without purpose is pointless. It's not about your position, it's about the purpose. So David was in the place of purpose, and oftentimes the place of purpose, not all the time, but oftentimes the place of purpose comes in the form of a position. Because that's how we organize ourselves as human beings. We give people positions to serve in different capacities. So David was in position in the palace and in the army. But for what purpose? And this brings me to the final point. That God is the ultimate revealer of purpose because He ordained it. So David was in the palace and he was in the army. What purpose could these positions serve? Well, they are the excellent platform for you to rest your feet on if you intend to be a king. Are you with me? A king lives in a palace and commands an army. So the purpose for David getting into those places of position was so that the purpose that God intended for his life could be accomplished, and that purpose was to lead his people as a king. I want you to get the point that you can't disconnect your gifts from the purpose. That it's your gifts that are going to bring you into the areas where you can springboard into the performance of your purpose. Are you with me? So as long as you're neglecting your gifts, as long as you're neglecting offering your gifts, your purpose that God intends for you will elude you. So to unlock the mystery of our lives, when we offer ourselves, we must offer ourselves to the one who gave us the gift. And that is the closure. That a gift, listen to this carefully now, a gift is something that is received, but doesn't stop there. A gift is also something that is offered. So how do we honor God with our gifts? God gave it to us. So we honor Him by offering it back to Him in His service. Are you with me? So here's the interesting thing. You can't separate your gift from you. You can separate your skills though from you. So if I am an accountant, I can offer my skills to your company, but I don't need to be in your company to do it. Are you with me? I can do the report and send it and I'm somewhere else. But what if you want me to sing for you? I can't just WhatsApp it, can I? It's not the same. So you can't separate yourself from the gifting the way you do your skills. So here's the clincher. If you're going to offer your gift to God, you have to offer yourself. Hello? Totally different understanding of gifts, right? Because normally we think a gift is something that we offer to God. Like the offering plate and the back carries around. Independent. No. You and your gifts are fused into one. And so when you offer to God the gift that He gives you, you're offering to Him yourself. Now here's where it gets really interesting before I close. In the Old Testament, when the tabernacle was built, there was a gate. There was a gate. And when you enter through the gate, the object you meet upon is an altar. And the altar is the place where you offer gifts to God. So it means that when you come to the altar, you have to have something with you. In fact, when the men, the firstborn, appear before God, each of them had to carry half a shekel. And God said to Moses, none should appear before me empty. So when you come before the altar, you have to have something to give. Now here's the thing. When you think of sacrifices, when you come to the altar with an animal to sacrifice, the animal has to be killed and the blood is offered. Are you with me? So once you come to the altar to offer yourself, then you're no longer, from that point, you're no longer alive. Hello? That's what Paul means when he says, you are dead, and the life that you now live is the life of Christ that is living inside of you. Now here's the interesting thing about it. In the Old Testament, the blood is what was given to make atonement for the soul. Are you with me? So when we come to the altar to offer ourselves, now here's the interesting thing about it. And I want you to get this well. In the Old Testament, the Israelites were forbidden from eating blood or drinking blood. And the reason is that the blood was the life. And God says, I've given to you the blood to make atonement for your sins. Are you with me? So blood is equal to life. Are you with me? Alright. So when you come to the altar to sacrifice, blood is shed, which means a life is taken. Are you with me so far? Alright. Now when we come to the altar to offer our gifts, now remember, you can't separate you from the gift. So you come to the altar to offer. It means the life that you knew is no more. Are you with me? But guess what happens now? And this is the interesting thing. When you kill an animal, the animal blood comes out. But when you offer your life, what blood is it that comes out? Not yours. That blood was shed already. Are you with me? And so you give your life so that you access His blood. And that's what it means when you say you give your life to Christ. You sacrifice your life so that His blood brings atonement between you and God. You understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters? So the way to connect to God is to offer Him your life as a gift. The same life that He gave you, you've completed the circle. Are you with me? So your gifts aren't your skills. Your gift is that it is bound up in your life. Everything, all of that which you are. Your life. Your gift is your life. And everything you do with it, you're accountable to God. So brothers and sisters, as we contemplate sharing our gifts liberally, I want to say, share our lives liberally in the service of God and in the service of others, knowing that the greatest gift we can offer to God is our life. And you don't need to worry about your blood being shed, because He has already made provision for the blood that will make you one with Him. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? So may the God of peace and love, the God who has given us all things for His purpose and for His glory, keep you and cause you to be at one with Him, now and forever. Amen.
Praise God. Our hymn of responses and the Lord of